Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Fenway Park.
At Mark Fidrich now, each time he gets the ball back, you'll see him mumble a couple of words to the ball.
The first man ever to pitch 5 career no-hitters.
Catch a ball, Joe!
I don't believe what I just saw!
And it's another chance for Mitchell, and he makes a bare-handed catch! Ricky goes, a pitch kick, and he's going to have it! Leaps high in the air, and he's got it! An incredible catch by the kid!
And let it be said that number 8, Cal Ripken Jr., has reached the unreachable star.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we invite you to rise.
Hey folks, I want to thank you for joining me today on the Daily Rewind, brought to you by This Day in Baseball. My name's Tom Hannon, and I am your host. And before I get started with the show, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the world events here. As the week has unfolded, it's really, I was going to say weeks, but it's really a week. I actually had gone to I had to do some family business, and then I got a chance to go to a podcast show called Podfest, which was really it was really a great show, and I got to meet a lot of podcasters and several future guests who are going to be on the show and contributing, which I'm excited about. But just from the time I left Florida for Podfest to this coming Monday here, the entire world has basically been shut down by this coronavirus, and it's not anything that we've ever seen before. I mean, of course, there was influenza in the 1918, the Spanish flu. That was a different time than it is now, and from the generation that we're in, we just haven't seen anything like this, and there's no idea when this is all going to come to a head, and we hope that things will be back to normal, and people will be able to go on and live their lives. But in the meantime, a lot of things have changed. For instance, and sadly, there's going to be no baseball. And if you listen to this podcast, you're a baseball fan. And that's a really, of course, that's something we always look forward to. It's going to be April in a few weeks, and we're looking forward to opening day. And we've been thinking about how our team was going to do this year and our favorite players. You're always looking forward to a nice warm day out at the ballpark and, enjoy it with friends and family. But, that might be delayed, and who knows exactly how that's going to break down this year. And, it's a really tough thing. We live here on Cape Cod, and I go to a lot of Cape Cod baseball games, and it's great baseball. If you're a fan of the game, it's a great baseball to take in, and it's very pure. It's a wood bat league, and if you've never been to Cape Cod or never been to a Cape Cod baseball game, it's a fantastic take where just people from the area come to the game, and they'll get 1,500 people come to a game, and they're just there to watch baseball for a couple of hours and cheer their club on. And then a lot of the college kids will stay at a local home. So we actually have friends that that have the kids stay with them for a couple of months while they're playing in the league, and it really creates a tremendous sense of community. And I would say that may or may not happen this year either. And it's an interesting thing to think about baseball and how it affects all our lives and how it's so intertwined with us, especially fans. And the only thing I can do on my part is I'm going to continue on with the show, of course, giving you these baseball voices from the past, which I love to do for you. But the other thing I'm going to try to do is put up as many old-time baseball games as possible. I'm just going to do a quick announcement before I put them on, and we're just going to put them out there. You can get them free on the radio archive as well. But we're going to put them on, and I'm going to put a feed on the website as well, and maybe do a watch party on Facebook, and some people can get together and just hang out and listen to some baseball games and enjoy that camaraderie. Even if it's virtual, it's still nice to have, and so you can enjoy those games. So I'm going to hope to start putting those out. I might put out a game tonight or tomorrow, and I want the fans to enjoy it and just to be able to enjoy some baseball, even though that it might be a while before we see the 2020 season happen. But I mean, the most important thing out of it all is, of course, we're missing it, is to stay healthy and be very aware of what's going on around you. I have to say, I've washed my hands and used hand sanitizer more in the last week than I have in the previous year, and I always thought of myself as having good hygiene. But of course, we're hyper vigilant right now, and if you hear somebody who's sick, that you want to keep your have a social distance, and these are probably all things that we should have been practicing all along anyways. But be very aware of that, and just take care of yourself. Do the right thing. If you're not feeling well, stay home. Be as responsible as you can be, because it's not just about you, it's about everyone else you come into contact with if you're not feeling well. And I'm going to get on to the show now, and again, just be safe, be aware, be responsible, and we'll all get through this. And it's going to be rocky for a little while, but we'll all get through it. And I'm going to do what I can to bring you some baseball to help you get through it. So today's date is March 16th, and I'm going to bring you a little story about Ty Cobb. March 16th in 1907, after watching Ty Cobb quarrel with a black groundskeeper and with a teammate, Charlie Schmidt, Tiger manager Hugh Jennings was tired of dealing with Cobb's abrasive behavior, and he tries to deal him to the Cleveland Naps for outfielder Elmer Flick. The Naps actually turned down the trade with the Tigers, who would have exchanged Flick for the 21-year-old Cobb. They countered with Bunk Congalton, but the Tigers declined. Flick had been holding out, and he just signed a few days before the trade. After Cobb was nearly traded away, Jennings attempted to repair the difficult relationship between Cobb and other Detroit Tiger players. Cobb is too good a hitter to let get away. When a little diplomacy will get the boys together, Jennings would say. Flick will go on to hit .302 and lead the league with 17 three-baggers. Cobb will go on to hit .350 and lead the AL in hitting. And of course, Cobb is going to go on to become one of the top 5 players in Major League Baseball history, and he still holds the all-time record for career batting average at .367, which I assume will never be touched. Both players ended up in Cooperstown. Cobb was, of course, part of the initial class, and Flick will join him in 1961. Now, I'm going to bring you Cobb himself, the Georgia Peach, as my voice of the past today.
Standing beside me is a man who is perhaps the world's most famous writer of sports, Grantland Rice. With him is a man whose name is a household word, the idol of baseball fans everywhere. In his day, the keenest batting eye in baseball, star of place hitters, and the fastest base runner. None other than Ty Cobb, the man who has broken practically every record in baseball. Grant Rice will interview Ty Cobb on baseball and the coming season. Grant?
Thanks, Graham. Well, Ty, you faced Walter Johnson's fast one when he had more smoke than a burning oil well. Now you're facing the Mike. Which team's the easier?
Well, I think I'll take a chance on Walter. This Mike kind of gives me stage fright.
Well, Ty, you've asked me not to make this too personal, but you have played in more ball games. You have made more hits. You have stolen more bases, and you have scored more runs than any player that ever lived. A record like this is a personal matter with a good many million people. First of all, I would like to ask you the biggest thrill you ever got in any one game.
Well, Grantland, I've played in over 4,000 ball games in the last 25 years, and the biggest thrill I ever got came in a game against the Athletics in 1907. I was only 20 years old then, not quite 21, and it looked as if this game meant the pennant. The Athletics had us beaten with Rube Waddell pitching. They were 2 runs ahead in the 9th inning when I happened to hit a home run that tied the score. This game went 17 innings to a tie. And a few days later, we clinched our first pennant. you can understand what it meant for a 20-year-old country boy to hit a home run off the great Rube in a pennant-winning game with 2 out in the ninth.
Boy, I suppose you've missed the old game a lot, Ty. All the thrills and crowds and the headlines and all.
I thought I would miss it a lot, Graham, but I haven't. It's a great old game, but I've almost felt like a prisoner who was set free.
Just how do you mean, Ty?
Baseball to me was more work than play. In fact, it was all work. You see, I was lucky enough to lead the league when I was 20 years old. After that, I wanted to lead it every year. I never thought I was any genius, so I gave up my life to the game for 25 years. I suppose I was in nearly 30,000 plays, and I at least tried to think about every play and how it should be made. Here's one example. I figured out one play to use against Hal Chase. He used to snap the ball over to third to catch me rounding the bag. I'd always slide back. I had to wait 2 years for the right time to work it. But one day, I just kept on going and managed to score the winning run.
Did you have any set system to work on, Ty?
Yes, my system was all offense. I believed in putting up a mental hazard for the other fellow. If we were 5 or 6 runs ahead, I'd try some wild play, such as going from first to home on a single. This helped to make the other side hurry the play in a close game later on. I worked out all the angles I could think of to keep them guessing and hurrying. Every play was a problem of some sort. That's what I meant by the strain and grind of 25 years.
Who was the best pitcher you ever faced, Ty?
Walter Johnson had more stuff, although Ed Walsh in his prime was a wonder. But the ones who gave me the most trouble were pitchers like Mogridge, Carl Wildman, and Carter, all left-handers who depended more on slow curves and dinky-dinks. They bothered me more than speed or fast curves.
Well, who was the hardest hitter you ever saw?
Well, you can't beat the Babe. Ruth is one of the few who can take a terrific swing and still meet the ball solidly. His timing is perfect. Lajoie was the hardest line hitter I ever saw, and I'd like to see Sam Crawford, Joe Jackson, and Frank Schulte lay against this modern ball. But none of them had the combined eye and power of Ruth.
There's one thing, Ty, I've always wondered about, and so have many others. How did your legs ever stand the strain of more than 4,000 ball games and more than 4,000 hits when you were always at top speed?
Well, in the first place, I always tried to keep in condition. And I can tell all the boys that means everything. For instance, I only ate 2 meals a day. I built up my legs in 2 ways. I hunted all through the winter, frequently walking all day long. I almost lived on my legs. In addition, I always hunted in heavy boots. When the training season opened, I fixed a piece of lead to my shoes. I took the lead off when the pennant race opened, and I felt as if I could run faster. I lost some of the old spring in the last year or 2, but my legs today are as strong as they were. If you want good legs, you have to put them to work. I never gave mine any holidays.
How did you steal so many bases, Ty? There were others just about as fast.
As I said before, you had to do more thinking in the old days when home runs were fewer. Games were close, and every play counted. The 2 most important things in base stealing are getting the jump on the pitcher and making your slide away from the baseman. In stealing bases, I always watched the baseman's eyes to know where the ball was coming. His eyes had to watch the ball. I didn't have the time for this, but his eyes told me, and then I knew where to throw my body away from the baseman.
I am pretty sure, Ty, everybody would like to have you pick the next 2 pennant winners.
For any good pennant-winning ball club, the second year is the easiest to repeat. The Athletics and the Cubs were both good teams, and I think they will be fighting it out again in the next World Series. That's my pick, anyway.
Thanks a lot, Grant, and...
How about that? Now, if you're interested in learning more about Ty Cobb, I want you to check out his page on thisdayinbaseball.com/Ty Cobb. I want to thank you for joining us today, and I know a lot of your baseball friends are going to be looking for baseball things to do. Please tell them about the show and the ball games we're going to be putting out for you to listen to. And if you enjoy the show, please subscribe so your friends never miss a show. And I want to leave you with this thought before I do my final send-off, is on a personal note, my wife's Linda mom passed away a few weeks ago, and we had the service for her on Saturday. And her sister Laura gave it just an incredible eulogy for her mom, and there wasn't a dry eye attendance there. And there was also a lot of chuckles and laughter as well, because she did such a masterful job. But my wife's mom suffered from Parkinson's, and it was a really tough time for her. And she had just a difficult life at the last few years. And Laura brought up such a great point during the eulogy when she said to always be willing to give a helping hand and never be afraid to ask somebody if they need a little bit of help. So during this really tough time that we're facing now, and it's going to be some time before things get back to normal, a lot of people are going to be having a tough time. And maybe you can offer to do some food shopping for somebody or help them out a little bit. Do some things for some people, especially the older folks or disabled folks who are going to be really stressed at this time. Try to do something for them to help them out, because it not only makes them feel good, it's going to make you feel great for doing good things along those lines. So, I'm just going to leave you with that thought. Of course, I didn't deliver it as good as Laura did, but I hope you understand what I was trying to say, and just try to do something to help somebody out during this time. Again, I would just want to thank you for listening to the show. Though I won't be seeing you at the ballpark for a while, I hope that we are seeing you there sooner rather than later. I'm out. Peace.